Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Touchlinefacts. First and foremost, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And today we have got a video presenting to you. Sporting president has been talking the hardest again, regarding Viktor Gyokeres, and actually has stood on his ground. Arsenal, obviously, we know they just bought Madrid. And I believe, from what I've heard from Arsenal fans, I haven't looked too much into it, that they're haggling over £5 million for Gyokeres, which I think is a bit dumb. I think you should just pay it. And we all know, I've done a video before, we all know about Gyokeres and the agent and the supposed promise, which, by the way, I said going into this window, I thought Gyokeres did have a release clause of £65 million or €65 million. I genuinely thought he did have a release clause. I thought he got lowered this summer. It was 80 million last summer and it's 65 million this summer. I've gone into this window assuming that. However, apparently it was only a gentleman's agreement. The agent claimed that he did have it in writing, but I don't think he does have it in writing, because if he had it in writing, he would have come out by now. And the sporting president has literally stood on his own accord. If you haven't seen already, this is what the comments are suggesting. Sporting president Varandes on Gyokeres not showing up for pre-season if they don't want to pay Viktor's fair market value. We're very comfortable with that for the next 3 years. Crazy. So they're very comfortable with them. Obviously they're very comfortable with Viktor Gyokeres staying. You know what I'm saying? If they keep him and they don't sell him for 60, 70 million or whatever it is they want, and they're 70 million plus 10 million add-ons, then they get a striker that's bagging them 40, 50 goals. However, you also get a player that maybe he said ain't going to be in it. You get a player who doesn't want to be there, and that could end up dropping off in his performances. The strategy is also making it more complicated for the player to leave. Nobody is above the interests of the club, whoever they are. This last bit though. We're calm. Everything will be resolved with the market closing, a hefty fine and apology to the group. So he's basically saying that if a club doesn't pay the money for Gyokeres and he doesn't end up leaving, Gyokeres will end up having to come back into the squad, because obviously he'll have to end up playing football. Gyokeres won't want to write a whole year of his career in football, especially, I don't know if Sweden are at the World Cup, so just hold me for that one. I don't know, but if Sweden are at the World Cup, or they have a chance of qualifying for the World Cup, then, it's a World Cup year. He'll probably want to be in his best shape possible, which is probably why he wants to play at the highest level. And he's also in the prime of his career. He's 27 now, so it's not like he's 21. He can't really skip a year of football. It's very, very hard for a player to skip a year of football. It's good, easy. Well, not easy for a manager, but a manager can do it. But players, they can't really do that. So it does look like he's sitting there standing on business, saying if Gyokeres don't get a move, he's going to have to fucking come back into the fold, apologise to the squad, and hold a hefty fine. And then I saw this as well. Rory Talks Football brought up this. So for David Ornstein, Tottenham moved. This was back when Tottenham were about to sign Pedro Porro. Remember when Tottenham signed Pedro Porro, which was January 2023, deadline day pretty much. So just after the World Cup, I believe. Tottenham moved for Pedro Porro is off after Sporting Lisbon. When it says it's off, I'm pretty sure they got this deal done, by the way. That at that time, I could be wrong. They did get this deal done, didn't they? On proposed deal, 23-year-old distraught after Sporting CP president told the right wing back that following Saturday's League Cup final, he'd be allowed to leave. So he basically went back on his word then. And look, Rory Talks Football said, so this Varandes bloke has a history of going back on his word. And it clearly suggests that he does. He's clearly another Daniel Levy, Harry Kane type situation. Remember when apparently they had a gentleman's agreement? Listen, this is a lesson learned for footballers. Don't do a gentleman's agreement. It's like when you're in court and you sit there and say, the police officer said to me, if I tell him this information, I'll get 10 years left on my sentence, and I'll end up doing 5 years. You've got to get it in writing, mate. You can't go to court without a gentleman's agreement. The same way in this scenario, you can't go there with a gentleman's agreement. They're not going to stick to it. They want their extra 5, 10, 15 million. And in this case, I believe, they want 70 million euros plus 10 million euros in add-ons, 80 million euros, which I don't actually think is that much for Gyokeres. I do actually think he's worth that, but I can understand, obviously, if Arsenal want to pay 60 plus 5 or 60 plus 10 or something across those lines, I can understand that they want to get the better deal. Anyone would want to say 5, 10 million. Man United are trying to do it right now with Brian and Mbeumo. And Viktor Gyokeres was adamant that his team are being priced. Well, he's being priced out of the move by Sporting Lisbon, which is obviously why he's refusing to turn up to training. As you can see, he's we all know he's refused to turn up. He's actually said he's never going to play for Sporting Lisbon again. But yeah, man, let me know what you lot are thinking in the comments. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. It looks like that bridge has been burnt with I don't know why I actually had my headset on, but that bridge has been burnt fully. But the Sporting Lisbon president has turned around and said, as I said, that he will stay at the club. If he stays at the club, he's gonna have to come back and apologise and have a hefty fine for obviously not turning up to training and stuff like that. It's peak, man. It's peak. Listen, could the Gyokeres to Arsenal deal break? What's the word they use? Fall through. That's it. Fall through. Could he end up going to Man United? Could that happen? We know Ben Jacobs and Fabrizio was trying to lie, but Ben Jacobs said that Viktor Gyokeres hasn't said no to Manchester United. Viktor Gyokeres has just said he preferred Arsenal, which is understandable for someone his age, profile, you know what I mean? But if Arsenal don't pay the money for him, a bit like Liverpool, these teams aren't trying to pay the money for him, and Man United do. You only have one choice to go to Man United because he doesn't want to go to Saudi. Saudi are willing to pay the money, but he doesn't want to go there. What are we saying, though? It's looking peak, mate. I can't lie, because if Arsenal don't... I do think Arsenal will cough up this money. It's only an extra 5-10 million. I do think Arsenal are in a good financial situation. Well, their wage bill is a bit fucked in terms of the quality. Some of their players, like Calafiori's on 120, Moreno's on 100, Zinchenko's on 160, Gabriel Jesus is on 260, Havertz is on 280. But generally, they're in a good financial scenario. They release merch every week almost, and they probably sell out a lot of times in merch. They got a 60+ founded City Stadium. They're in the Champions League now every year, getting to Champions League quarterfinal, Champions League semi-finals. So they've got decent finances. I imagine they could pay that. They just paid 50 million for Madrid. I'm sure they can cough up an extra 5 million for Gyokeres. They're linked with Eze as well. So, I mean, maybe, obviously, I do understand they don't want to do it because then that extra 5-10 million could be what stops them getting an Eze. Could be what stops them getting a Rodrigo. You never know. That extra 5, 10, 15 million on each player could end up stopping them getting one of those players. However, I imagine they will cough this money up, whether it takes another week or two. I mean, pre-season doesn't start for another week. I reckon this will go on for at least another 7 to 10 days. And then we'll probably find out maybe another 2 weeks. Personally, we'll probably find out another verdict, whether Arsenal are willing to walk away. But I don't think they are, because it seems like they've already walked away from Sesko, because Sesko's priced them out of a move. So I feel like their only option they're really looking at is Gyokeres. And yeah, I mean, I can't see Arsenal not getting this deal over the line. I'll be honest. I can't see them not paying the money. I can see them Sporting are being firm on it. So I can see them actually end up just saying, yeah, cool, we'll just give you the extra 5-10 million. But Berta, I don't know how he works. But I do know one thing about Berta. He's very good at getting strikers in. So it is what it is. But let me know what you lot think in the comments. Do you think this deal will happen? And yeah, I just wanted to give that update. I haven't done a video today, so saw this and thought it was fucking hilarious. I mean, Sporting Lisbon, do you know what it is? It's like, I'll be honest, some of these, I wouldn't say Sporting are a small club, because they're not. They're actually a massive club. The same way, though, like Nottingham Forest, they're not a small club, they're a massive club, but they need to know their place, bro, in the food chain. They need to know their place in the food chain. Same with Newcastle's and Brighton's and Brentford's. Like, I understand you want your extra 5-10 millions, but when your player's that desperate to leave, yeah, Gyokeres is, you know, yeah, I mean, we're going to try to haggle with extra 5, 10, 15 million out of the club and make the player wait for his move when he clearly doesn't want to be there. You know what I'm saying? Same with Daniel Levy. I remember when Daniel Levy did this, which stopped Harry Kane going to Man City. And then obviously a year later, or 2 years later, he went to Bayern Munich. When he went there and said, I've got a gentleman's agreement with Daniel Levy. You need it in writing, mate. And then Daniel Levy was asking for, I think, 50 million more. I think it was 150 million that Daniel Levy was asking for. Man City were only willing to pay 100. So yeah, it is what it is. These stingy owners, we won't call them small clubs, because that might rattle a few people. We'll call them stingy owners, stingy presidents, stingy CEOs, doing their best, man. Look what's happening with Man United and Brian and Boehmer. This is why I hope Brentford get relegated. They should get relegated alone for their football kit. But yeah, listen, Sporting are a big club. They were very good with us. They're very good with us. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're trying to price them out the move and try and send them to United, because they got a great relationship with us. They seem to be very good with us. They fucking gave us Bruno for 50. To be fair, Bruno did take quite long as well. Maybe I'm doing a bit of revisionism on that. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the sub button, hit the like button. I'm out, people. Peace.